Hello, I'm Debbie Wagner, Regional Mathematics Content Specialist with the Kentucky Department of Education. In addition to the grade level content in the Kentucky Core Academic Standards, there are 8 standards for mathematical practices that teachers must intentionally implement from kindergarten all the way through 12th grade. The purpose of this podcast is to help teachers better understand ways to effectively implement the first standard for mathematical practice, which is to make sense of problems and persevere in solving them within an intermediate mathematics class. Jay Anderson is a 5th grade teacher at Mercer Intermediate School in Harrodsburg and a teacher leader in the Central Kentucky Educational Cooperative Math Network. Today his students are making sense of problems with fraction multiplication. He asks his students to make connections between procedures and model representations they create of those procedures. First question I have for you, Jay, is why is problem solving so important?
It develops critical thinking and it allows them to think and understand it using in their own way, not just some mold that the teacher says, well, here's how you solve it and you do it this way. It allows them to make the connections as far as how they went about solving the problem or finding the answer, and usually when they are allowed to make those connections, it tends to stick more, and it tends to answer that question that young kids always ask, well, why? Well, you know, they figure out the why versus being told the why.
So tell me about when you are trying to solve a problem and you get stuck. What do you do?
Well, you try to find a way that makes sense and how you can solve it, and try your best.
Then also you can, if you get stuck on a problem that it's new, there's strategies that you've learned earlier on in the year that you can use, and those might help. And then if you're stuck, depending on what problem it is, there's ways that you can work out the problem instead of trying to work it out in your head.
Okay, so what kind of things does your teacher do if you're stuck solving a problem?
He'll ask us questions about well, do you think you might need to do this, or do you think you might need to do that?
He doesn't just give you the answer then?
No, because if you give somebody the answer, it's just like giving the question. He wants you to work hard, period. And then, second of all, if you don't know what you're doing, it's always good to pay attention to what you are doing and see what you messed up on, so when you do get it right, you're able to see what you did.
Right. So in order for students to make sense of problems, they should be able to discuss and explain and demonstrate solving a problem in multiple ways or with multiple representations. How do you encourage students to discuss and represent problems in your classroom?
First and foremost is I always try to make a point of teaching content in multiple ways. I know when we did multiplication, for example, I taught the algorithm probably 4 or 5 different ways. So, and I think by modeling that way, it shows the kids that, hey, there is more than one way to do this, and if I choose to do it a way that's maybe not the most popular, hey, I'm ultimately being successful, which is the whole goal of teaching different ways. I also allow the kids just the freedom we do journal every day, so I give them the time to share, and we talk about, well, what did you do? Well, did that work? Did it not work? Well, is it same or different to what another student did? And so we're always kind of reflecting. Now, you'll notice that all my brownies are close to being same size, okay? Now, of these 3 brownies, Sally eats half of them. So Sally has 3 brownies, she eats half of them, okay? But you need to draw Sally's brownies, and Sally eats half of them. So what would that look like? Sally has 3 brownies, and you need to make them a fairly good size because we're going to have to do some work with them. Now, same thing, really look at her model, because is it different than Jonas?
Yes.
Yes, okay? On three. Once if you agree, two if you disagree. 1, 2, 3. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Show how much is left.
1.5.
1.5, or how many halves?
2, 3.
3 halves. Okay. I wouldn't eat. Would you eat half of 3 apples? No, you probably eat 1 whole apple, then half of the other one. But still, both models still show 3 halves. No. Jim eats 1/3 of the remaining brownies. Okay. Jim eats 1/3 of the remaining brownies. Our question now is, how much is left after Jim eats his third? He ate 1/3 of that one, and he ate 1/3 of that one. Okay. Now, Jim.
Came along and ate that.
Why did you mark that out?
Because it was gone.
How much did he eat? 1/3.
When you finish solving a tough problem, how do you know if your answer makes sense?
Well, what I do is I use many methods to find and see if I have the same problem. And if I go up and see that my answer is wrong, I'll go back and go step by little step and see what I did wrong and fix my answer. Really, what I would wish I could do, if I wish I had a giant poster board to do all those methods, but I can't, so I have to choose my favorite methods, and if all of those have the same answer, then I think I'm gonna have a theory that I got it right.
If you do it one way and you get it, and you can check it by doing it a different way, and if you get the same answer, then you assume that it would be right. But if it's different answers, you did something wrong.
So what advice do you have to other teachers who are just starting this process?
Don't be afraid to ask questions. I think that for a lot of us, we're still trying to exactly figure out, what does this standard actually mean? What does it want? What does it expect the kids to be able to do? For a lot of us, it's totally different. For a lot of math teachers, we've been taught the procedures for how to multiply fractions or how to multiply whole numbers, but as far as why that procedure works, a lot of us, that's how we were taught. My teacher told me that was what you do, so you just do it. So, for a lot of us, we're having to almost go back and learn the why ourselves, and then that presents a challenge to try to break old habits and learn new habits. So, the Leadership Network has provided that opportunity for a lot of teachers to get together and discuss and figure out, what the standard is expecting the kids to do, so that we can then answer those questions.